All right, pretend I'm Michael Harvey, who needed the Cardinals to win last night to win the NFL Pick'em. Kyler's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk it over. So many things that I want to say. You know I like my boys a little bit bolder. I just want to see you win tonight. Instead, you tore your ACL tonight.
Okay, welcome back everybody to Amateur Hour Podcast. This is episode 15, 1-5. Shout out Tim Tebow. John, thank you for bringing back the songs. It's always my favorite part of the show. So I appreciate that. It's tough to make a song about Kyler Murray tearing his ACL, but I'll always crack a smile when we see Mike Harvey piss one away. So thanks for that one, John. How's everybody doing? How are you two
Good.
guys doing?
Introduce our guest, dude. What the
Oh yeah,
hell?
so on the podcast this week we have a very special guest for not the first time, not the second time, but the third time, Mr. Will Cleveland. His second appearance, but his third victory in the Pick'em League. Congratulations, Will, on another win.
Yes, thank you. This is my first week that I won, and I didn't tie in points. I didn't have to use the tiebreaker to win. So
Nice,
I'm
that's a
glad,
true win.
I'm glad to set the point straight that I can do that.
Yeah, also shout out to Jenna as well. I think she's got three wins, and the last one was a tie, but I think you and Jenna are top dogs. And then Bo might be the right behind you guys in wins and total points. So yeah, you the rookies are coming on strong. I mean, Bo was shit last year, and then you guys do it for the first time. I'm sure if we were famous, right, and there were pundits, I don't think pundits would have picked you and Jenna to be the top guys, but it shows that you know a lot about football, clearly, or more than us.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but it's been a good year, and I did not think I was gonna do this well. So I'm just glad I won 1 week, and to win with 3, that's perfect.
Yeah, we were talking. You paid for next season's entry, so next year is going to be just all gravy money.
Yeah, I don't even have to get permission from the wife. I just get to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's kind of like golf. Those one couple good shots around is what keeps you coming back. And it doesn't matter if it's an 18-week season. If you can win at least once, and if you can win twice and three times like you, I mean, that'll keep you coming back for years to come.
yeah, and then I just want to give a quick honorable mention, Jake Sepka for not getting a single pick in or the tiebreaker. Keep up the good work, Jake. We appreciate your money. And Joe Klosowski for just at the last game of the week squeaking by with the one win. Otherwise, he was going to go 0-13, which would have been is quite the feat. That is difficult to do. That is just as hard to do as picking all of them correct.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Joe to come on if he didn't get that last game right and explain kind of where he was at going into the week and where he's at going forward because going over is a really tough pill to swallow.
That is very tough. That is I don't think we've seen it actually, so that would have been history, and it would have been worth a quick interview for sure, at least a 5-minute interview. So
Yeah. But
uh,
let's see if he can pull it off next week and we'll get him on.
yeah, and maybe Jake will get a couple picks in just for the show. I can't believe how fast the season's gone. We got 4 regular season games left, and it's going to be playoff time.
Yeah, it's that time of the year that it's fantasy football playoffs. So are either of you guys making it to the fantasy football playoffs this year or what's your stories?
Um, I'm in my family league. I think everyone makes the playoffs. I think,
Oh boy. Everyone gets a medal. You get
Participation trophy Cleveland household.
but I will not probably be in contention. I do have Jalen Hurts, so I have had some good weeks. But he's about all I got. So.
What about you, John?
Yeah, did not make the playoffs in my dynasty league. Just the surprise of no one. But in pure poetic justice, I played Bo the last season, and if he won, he had a shot to get into the playoffs. And I have his first round pick for the 2023 draft. So him doing worse benefits me. So I'm really rooting for him to not get in the playoffs. And he played me. We matched up each other this last week. And I traded him early in the season, T. Higgins or Ramondre Stevenson. I got shit players in return, and the guys he got just exploded and have played very well. Both got injured. Between the two of them, they scored 3 points. And I ended up beating him by like 12 or 13 points to send him to the toilet bowl. So now my that first round pick he gave me is just getting more and more valuable. So there was a silver lining at least.
I'm glad you won. You spent about 30 minutes of our last episode's podcast talking about your lineup, so I'm glad that it ended in a win for you.
Yeah, we got a lot of views on that. I could tell the crowd is interested. What about you, David?
I'm surprised you didn't do you didn't do one single redraft league. You did all just a one dynasty. That's it.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to keep it like that. It's more fun for me to have one to focus on. I think if you get multiple going on, it draws your attention away from others. And I know like you have ones you care about the most, but in the past I've done 2 leagues and I care less about both of them. So I think I'm just going to try to keep it with the one.
So my I have 3 teams, all redraft leagues. We'll start with the worst. In Jackie's family's league, I missed the playoffs. So I'm in the bottom 4 there, along with both of her sisters and her mother. So that's a tough one. With Christmas around the corner, I'm gonna have to explain myself. I'm thinking about some sort of getting the ladies together for some sort of punishment for the toilet bowl loser or something to make it still exciting at the end of the year. The other 2 leagues that I'm in, one with Alex Alba and his friends, I did make the playoffs, and then in my important league with my buddies back home, I made the playoffs as well. So,
nice.
Anything's possible. All you got to do is squeak into the playoffs, and anything's possible.
I agree. Kind of sad though. You should feast in a family league. I feel like people don't give a shit about the family league.
Yeah, I think it really goes to show how important like your draft position is, and how the players fall that year. So you can kind of say what you want, but if I'm for whatever it's worth, Jackie is the number 1 seed in our league. So just kind of goes to show,
Well, good job, Jackie. You guys drink anything special? I just have water tonight.
Rolling Rock, the greatest green bottle drink of all time.
Yeah, the champagne of beers. What about you, Will?
No, I just have water tonight.
Excellent. Stay hydrated, folks.
I had a long day at work. All right, don't make me feel like a degenerate.
Yeah, no, you've earned it, David. Do we have a relationship report card?
I do not. Will, do you have something?
Yes, I did ask Piper on my drive home from work tonight. See what
Woo!
She gave me a 9 out of 10. She said that I've been stepping up in my cleaning duties, my cooking duties. Normally, like with my schedule, I don't really get to do the cooking and all that, just because she's normally always home before me, wise and all that. But I've stepped up there, so it boosted my score this week.
Nice, good job, Will.
Excellent. Well, we all aspire to be the husband you are.
Here's a plot twist. What would you give Piper for this past week? I'm really throwing you on the spot.
Shoot.
Shoot.
I'd probably. She won't watch it, so it don't matter.
Okay.
I'll probably give her 7, a 6.5.
Whoa! What?
She gives you a 9, you give her a 6.5.
You just have to go by the week, and if I'm, there's just been some stuff that she normally does that she hadn't done it. So
yeah, I mean, it's a pendulum. So if you're winning points for helping with more cleaning and making more dishes or making more dinners, that means it's swinging the other way where she's helping with less.
Correct. Yeah. And I've won the week basically. So
yeah, win the week. That's the motto.
Another victory for Will.
Another victory for Will Cleveland. He's just
we'll wait, see if I can come back the next, and then my score is not going to be high. So
I gotta say though, Dave, I think the pendulum metaphor for relationships really doesn't work. I don't know if that actually is accurate.
I think it kind of is. What's your counter argument?
That both people can do well. Both people could get like 9s. They go on a honeymoon together, enjoy each other's company all week.
Oh yeah, I can understand that, but I'm just saying, like, if you really think about it, if one person steps up to do more things than they normally do, that means that the one person is theoretically doing less. Unless you're doing everything together. That's different.
Or if it means more, what if like Carla just likes when I clean, but I really like it when she lets me pick the movies that we're gonna watch?
Well, that's a stupid reason to give someone a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
It,
So I
She
got
just
a
she just doesn't want to
7.
sit there and watch you scroll through Netflix for an hour and a half.
Thank you for your commentary. I got a 7 for letting me watch an excessive amount of Love Island and relaxing with me all weekend. Minus points for putting off cleaning for 2 weeks. So if you can picture it, Sunday I was 8 hours into laying on the couch, and then she brought her phone over and threw it on my lap, and it said, "Women report they're less attracted to men that don't do anything around the house." And said, "I hope you can clean this week."
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if you want her to, if you
Yeah,
want the lust to stay alive, then you got to start helping out.
I did. I did a lot of chores today, so that's good. We talked a little bit about the Pick'em results, so we don't need to go with that over that. What about our lock of the week and our big baller of the week?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So our big ballers of the week, mine was George Pickens. He was not a big baller, I would say more of a mid-sized baller.
Midi.
He had about 9 points, and then your big baller was
Yeah,
Cam Akers, who again was more of a
sure.
mid-sized baller. He had about 9 points. So, not great picks of the week, but I would say getting close, creeping up to those double digits is a good decent sign.
hmm
Um,
Um,
as as far as locks of the week, I had the Titans -4 versus the Jaguars. That did not go well for the Titans. That was a big
yeah.
loss for me. And then you had the Browns +6 against Cincinnati, which also did not go well. So Cincinnati got their first win against the Browns in 5 years, or in 5 games, excuse me. So that was a big win for them. But we both lost our locks of the week.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys thought about that Titans game. I watched a little of it. It looked like without Treylon Burks out there, or just someone in the passing threat, that they were able to slow down the run a little more. So I think that's going to be key for Tennessee in the playoffs, is getting that passing game going, because they torched the Packers because they had both looking really nice, but they did not against the Jaguars.
If they make the playoffs.
Oh, are they getting close?
Not really. Their division is really terrible, but you never know. Jaguars could get hot right at the right
True.
time, and the Titans could keep slipping.
Yeah. What do you guys have as your surprise game of the week?
Will, you got one ready?
My surprise, well, it was a surprise, but then again, it wasn't, because they always have these types of games. But the Vikings, like I know, and that was a big thing. Like, how can you have like a team with that good of a record be underdogs? Like, even though they're at Detroit, how can they be an underdog against a team like that? But like the Vikings just have had those games where they just, I don't know, just shit the bed basically.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why you can't buy into the Kirk Cousins got 400 passing yards, great passer or quarterback rating and all that, but it doesn't, in the end, it doesn't do anything for them.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I know they've won a lot of close games. Where like it's a really close game and the luck just swings their way. But man, I remember when the Cowboys came in there and just curb stomped their heads right into the freaking ground. It was like 3-40 or something. And I think they were favored in that game, and that was right after the Cowboys lost to the Packers. And I think you're right. I think the Vikings in the playoffs, maybe they could squeak out like 4 lucky ones, but I think they're going to get one of those games in the playoffs where they're just going to get absolutely shit on,
Mhm.
I don't know. What did you think of that game, Dave? Did you watch it?
I watched some of it, yes. I was in Des Moines this weekend, so I watched a little bit at my friend Erica and Steve's house, and then I drove to Jethro's and watched the rest of it there. So I was like half paying attention, but that was one of my surprise games of the week as well. I think like it's getting to that time of the year when the Vikings really need to start figuring things out going into the playoffs. Otherwise, they're not going to make a very deep run. I think they have like the offensive weapons, but their defense doesn't look like it can stop many things right now. So I think the defense really has to iron some things out going into the playoffs.
And the Lions could be scary. next year. I don't know. I would assume they'll draft a quarterback. I don't know if they're going to stick with Goff, but I think if they could ever get their defense good, I think that can be a very scary team.
Yeah, I think they should. If it was up to me, I would definitely draft a quarterback. But actually, I think they announced that they're sticking with Goff in 2023. So that doesn't always mean everything. They kind of say that just to kind of make sure Goff is bought in, at least for the rest of this
For
run
the
and
rest of the
going into the
season,
off season. But if I was them, I would definitely take one of those quarterbacks. It's actually a very deep quarterback draft this year.
Mhm.
And the guys on the top are pretty solid, but a lot of good quarterbacks in next year's draft too. So maybe they'll wait another year. But if it were me, I'd grab a guy, maybe even sit him behind Jared Goff for a little bit and let him learn and go from there.
Who's your surprise game, Dave?
Um, yeah, I think anytime you go like, what did I go 5-8 or something this week? There's a lot of games that really surprise you.
Mhm.
But one of the games that jumped out at me was that Buccaneers Niners game.
Oh, I was going to say
I
that.
I Niners are my Super Bowl team out of the NFC. Sorry, Will Cleveland. And that changed a little bit for me when Garoppolo went out. But who knows? Maybe Brock Purdy, Big Cock Brock, people are calling him. Maybe he will bring them to glory. I don't know. He's throwing the ball downfield. He's playing aggressive. He seems like he has nothing to lose. So that's always a scary guy to go against, is someone that seems like they have nothing to lose. So, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers look terrible. Their defense is awful. Um, I wasn't shocked that the Niners won the game or covered, but I was shocked that they just like beat the shit out of them all game long.
Yeah, I was surprised they put up that many points with Brock Purdy. But you're right, a guy like that drafted, very last. I mean, I guess you could be an undrafted free agent, but you must just play with, what the fuck do I have to lose? I might as well just sling it. And I wonder if he just is really good at clearing his mind. I mean, I know he was good at Iowa State when they were ranked, but I feel like his last year there wasn't as great.
He wasn't
Well,
very
what
good his last year now.
you're a Cyclone fan, Will. What do you have any analysis on Brock Purdy?
Yeah, so Brock's last year wasn't good to what it was meant to be, because he was the year where we had Breece Hall, excuse me. Like we had a lot of players that ended up going pro, and so we were supposed to like Iowa State was supposed to win the Big 12 and be like in contention. We were like, I think, top 10 in the to start, but then like just the season was a disappointment. But when he came into Iowa State, like when he got recruited there, he wasn't meant to start right away, but he won the starting position his freshman year, and he's kept that starting position all the way through. And so I've kind of followed him when he got drafted with the 49ers, because, well, being the last pick of the draft, you rarely ever see that guy actually make the 53-man roster come preseason time. But he stayed on it, and it just showed like how he, even with Trey Lance and Jimmy G, like they were still had Brock, and they wanted to keep him on the team, and that just shows. So like I knew he had potential. I didn't think he was going to do that, like he have like 3 touchdowns, or I couldn't believe it. Like he was. But you got weapons like George Kittle, Debo, Christian McCaffrey, kind of makes things easy.
Yeah, and you got to look at it too. It's certainly beneficial when you're a young quarterback, the system you get into. I mean, you can throw these, you've seen it all the time where Baker Mayfield, they throw all these first or second overall picks into these just shit teams. I mean, they can't, if the team around him is garbage. He does have like one of the best possible teams around him, but I think that's going to be good for confidence going forward.
Yeah, I was even surprised, just rewind to draft day, that they even took a quarterback, like a rookie quarterback, when you had basically a rookie quarterback like in Trey Lance, ready to start for the season, and you have Jimmy G as a backup that you just gave like a huge paycheck to. I'm surprised that they even drafted a guy like you basically think at the beginning of the year, this guy's never gonna have an opportunity to play here. So like, why would you waste a pick on him, even if it's the last pick in the draft? So, they draft him, they take a shot on him. Trey Lance goes out week 1, so then he's Jimmy G's backup, and he practices all season long. And luckily, that Jimmy G injury came so late in the season where Brock can be comfortable in the offense, and Shanahan knows kind of what he can bring to the table. And like you said, they pick up McCaffrey in the midseason before the trade deadline, and next thing you know, Brock Purdy might be the next 49ers quarterback. Who knows, depending on how he plays going into the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs.
Yeah. I did pick him up, Dave, in my dynasty league, but he also played injured. He had like a torn, is it an oblique? It's like across your chest. And apparently that can be very painful when you're throwing because it has to deal with your core, what I read. So I think he's day to day. I think they're hoping he'll be able to start but I think they play Thursday. Is that right?
They do play Thursday against the Seahawks.
Yes. So hopefully he can go because I would love to watch that game. I did not actually get to see that game, but rooting for that's an underdog story. You know, if he became even a top 15 quarterback in the league, that'd be like a crazy ass story.
Yeah.
Can we agree?
I'm rooting for Big Cock Brock for sure.
Okay, yeah, I think we all are. I think he's everyone's darling, you know. That was the one I was gonna say. But since you took it, I will say I was surprised to see Baker Mayfield lead the Rams on a game-winning touchdown drive. I think that was extremely surprising. It was Thursday night, so it's a little bit ago, but I still think we are going to the game. They're coming to town, and we're going to the game Monday night. So hopefully Baker Mayfield can put on a show for us.
Supposed to be crappy weather. You still gonna go?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going either way, baby. You just have an extra beer and we have to walk. So like it's not that, I mean, even if it's snowing a lot, you know, it's not like we have to drive in the snow, so we don't really have a lot of hindrance to get
Yeah,
to the
I would say that's worse that you have to walk, but yeah, whatever reasoning you want to come up with to help you sleep at night. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I think that game really surprised a lot of people. The Rams basically have lost Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson wasn't impressive, but he was their best receiver. And that they were able to pull out a last second win over the Raiders, who in the Raiders defense, they do like to choke a good game, you know, but
It's pretty impressive. Baker was there for like less than 48 hours
yeah,
and didn't even start the game, came in after the first drive and scrapped away a win. So you gotta, you have to admit that the Raiders pissed it down their leg and kind of gave the game away with a couple of those penalties the last drive. But Baker had to, make completions when he had to make completions, and he did the job to get them a win. So
yeah, I agree. So fantasy football wise, top scorers, Evan Ingram, overall the tight end, that was a big baller, and I wish we would have hit on that. But yeah, he had 40 points in PPR format. Trevor Lawrence in second with 33 points. And then Justin Jefferson and Jerry Jeudy tied with 33 points. And then Jerick McKinnon had 32 points. So that could have been a big baller potentially as well. Kind of not a, big name. So interesting week in fantasy. We'll see with the playoffs starting how it goes for everyone. I'll be pulling for you, Dave.
You will see how it goes for everyone for sure.
Yes. Yes, I will see. That is right. I
would like to give a special shout out. I've worn this before on here, but shout out Justin Herbert, my guy from the Ducks. Big win for the Chargers against the Dolphins, who are a tough team. They made Tua look terrible, which is always a good sign for the defense. Big Sunday night win. I had placed a couple small wagers on NFL football this weekend because I was in Des Moines, and you can place bets in Iowa, and it was not going well for me on Sunday. Not only for the pick'em, but also for my bets. So on the drive home, I decided to put $20 on the Chargers, and it was a make or break Sunday bet for me, and they won and covered. So I broke even for the day, so that was good. Thank you, Chargers.
That's the best feeling, isn't it? To put all that work in and just break even.
I think I had like 14 bets across the day, and I broke even completely.
Oh boy, is it legal up in Minnesota there, Will?
No.
Nope. Did you ever get into it in Iowa?
No, but my brother still lives in Iowa, and I'll send him like just dumb like same game parlays or whatnot, and I'm not putting any money. I'm not making him bet for me or anything, but I just like to see, I'm getting used to it and all that. They talked about it up in Minnesota earlier this year, but it never passed. I don't think it's gonna.
Okay. Yeah, it's a big money maker. I know the state of Iowa takes in a ton of tax revenue from that. So I don't know. I think a lot of states, it's going to be like marijuana. A lot of states eventually will move to it just so they can tax it,
Yeah.
Get more money.
And not having it legal, I think, has saved me plenty of money. So I think I'm okay with that right now.
It has. You actually should be thankful because The problem is when you hit these big, like if you hit a win and like you have, say, a 5 or 6 parlay of all this stupid shit and you hit and win $200, you just start increasing your bets. Like the longer you play, you just start betting more and more, and you get like numb to losing, $10, $20, and then it's $40. And it's extremely addictive. Extremely addictive, Will. So don't even start. It's just like cigarettes. Don't even try that first Marlboro,
You take that one first puff and you just can't put them down.
Ooh, tasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, since both the Bears and the Packers were on bye, let's talk a little bit about the Eagles game. And Will, I'd like to hear your take on how the boys, how you thought they did for you.
Well, after the previous week, when we beat up on Tennessee, AJ Brown revenge game there,
Yes.
I wasn't really nervous about the Giants. They've given us fits year, like they've been like one team that I've always like been nervous about playing against. Daniel Jones had that, I think it was last year. He had that one, like it could have been like an 80-some yard like touchdown run, but then he slipped and fell like right on his face last year. I don't know if you guys remember.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Typical Daniel Jones. But like they've always like he's like just a quarterback. Him, Eli Manning before, like they've had these weird quarterbacks that have just given us fits. But no, I like how the Eagles are kind of trending getting into the end of the year. People all said in the beginning we weren't really playing tough teams. We didn't really look like we were deserving of our record. But when you beat up on the Titans, who they might be struggling now, but that's a playoff team more than likely. And the Giants have been a playoff team this entire season up until this point, and they're the NFC East. Even though it got some criticism early on by one of the people in this podcast. It's been by far the best division.
I agree.
And it just shows it's not an easy win each week for those.
No, not in the NFL. And I think Jalen Hurts, you watch more of it than I do. How is he looking? Is he looking through more of his options? Is he taking off right away, or what is his game looking like? I mean, is he more like Lamar Jackson, or is he more like a pocket passer?
He's I don't know. I feel like he had that one game where he ran for 100. He set like the record for like most rushing yards for a quarterback in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Justin Fields owns that record. Actually, Will.
Oh, my bad. Maybe it was an Eagles record. Maybe that's what they were talking about because he beat Michael Vick's record. But anyway, he had that one game where he was like just a big rusher, and I think he threw under like 200 yards passing. But then the next week he goes for like 350 yards passing, and he barely even runs the ball. So it's like they get to it's the beautiful part about our offense is that they can basically pick and choose what they want to beat you with, depending on what the defense is going to give them. I don't know if he's like he's not the fully developed pocket passer, but he's doing enough where the game's pretty much coming easy. We're able to run the ball with our running backs. We're able to use design runs with Jalen. And then we have, two capable wide receivers that are able to get separation. So it's our offense and our line's been able to stay healthy. It's just like we have a top 5 offense, top 5 defense. It's all kind of clicking right now.
You know what else is going to be really big for the Eagles is getting Dallas Goedert back.
Yes.
I don't know if he'll come back this week. I think he might be eligible to come back this week, but if he does, it'll be in kind of limited fashion. But he's coming back at the right time, so that's going to be a huge addition to their offense for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you when you talked about the wide receivers. I think it's so important nowadays you can't just have one stud receiver because they'll just double them. That was the Packers' problem last year with Devontae Adams, but they have Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. Both of those guys can be the star of the game, right? And so it's tough on the defense. It's like, who do you focus on? Because then the other one's going to burn you.
And like what Jalen Hurts brings to the table too, and what Miles Sanders has done this year is made their running game a threat. So the fact that like teams can't just like drop, only rush 3 or something, because then they'll just exploit them in the running game. So like the teams really have to defensively be ready for everything, and that's why we've seen the Eagles kind of drop close to 50 points 2 weeks in a row. They're able to exploit these defenses because they're just on their heels and not really knowing what to do and what to defend because they can come and get you at so many different angles. I looked it up real quick. Jalen Hurts set the Eagles franchise record for rushing yards in a game by a quarterback. He did beat Michael Vick's record. You were correct. Justin Fields broke the NFL record this year, which was also Mike Vick's record when he was a Falcon. So kind of fun little stat there for both of those guys. But I saw this little picture on Twitter that I think it was yesterday or something. It was just like 4 pictures. It was like Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, and this might be jumping the gun on Justin Fields, but Herbert, Mahomes, like those guys, and it's just like the league is in good hands, So there's a lot of exciting young quarterbacks that we get to watch for years to come.
Interesting, yeah, Justin Fields in that group.
Well, he's a young quarterback that's exciting to watch. He can do it with his legs. The Bears they're on the come up right now. It's not good, but they're on the come up. So,
Yeah, stock's rising. Trevor Lawrence also had a really good week. I traded him away, and I hope that would in fantasy, and I knew that would improve his game and increase his stock. And he sure looked good against the Titans. So, shout out to you, Trevor. He's making that first overall pick look worth it.
Talking about your fantasy team and all the mistakes you've made this year is going to spiral me back into anger management sessions. So I'd rather not talk about that anymore because
yeah, you're right.
You make horrific decisions in the trading pool.
Yeah, we'll be all right though. Did you buy the criticisms early on, Will, with everyone was saying, "Oh, Jalen Hurts, he's a run first guy." That was the big knock on him, is he looks his first option. If it's not there, he takes off.
I mean, I believe that going like before this season started, but everything that I've seen this season shows me that he's taken that kind of like next step. And that was the one thing why I didn't expect us to have this good of a record and because I didn't think Jalen was like ready to do that. I thought he was still just going to be, first read, throw it, or try and just scramble and make something happen, which he can do, and he's done, and he can win you games by that. But I didn't see the passing, like the MVP like passing yards and just basically not throwing the ball in bad situations, like limiting the interceptions. Like I did not see that coming. And so he's kind of proven me wrong in that aspect. But I did believe early on from what I saw just this season that I knew we had a kind of a good team for this year.
Yeah, he's looked really good. I think I honestly wasn't as surprised because he had success in Alabama, and then to go over to Oklahoma and do the same thing, and be in the Heisman candidate conversation in a completely different program. It seems to me like he's a very flexible guy, or he can adapt well to different things. So I would just wanted to look up here on the passer rating.
The Eagles also have an excellent GM, Howie Roseman. I feel like he puts together really good rosters. He's the guy that'll go for like a big trade that'll help make the team a lot better. You saw it this offseason with the AJ Brown trade during the draft. He'll go for like those big name free agents that like other people are too scared to pay or won't go after. You've seen the Eagles shore up that defensive line this year with Robert Quinn, who's struggled a little bit, but I think they signed Ndamukong Suh. They got what's his name from the Chargers, I think. So they've added a couple of really good pieces that should help them down the stretch.
So I wanted to look up passer rating. Jalen Hurts, according to Pro Football Reference, is actually number 1 in the league this year. He's 108.4, 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3,100 yards. So that's pretty impressive. Extremely impressive. And I think the Eagles you were talking about how good the back office or the front office is. I think they have a top 5 draft pick this year.
Yeah, we have the Saints pick for next year. So wow. I think right now it's like number 5, and I don't think it's going to really be moving down much. So
what trade was that?
I really don't know. I can't remember. I could probably look it up quick.
But... Yeah, because that's bizarre. I'm not remembering like what pieces were moved around for that trade, but there's another just fleecing by Howie Roseman. So I really like your secondary too, and that's something that he put together. Darius Slay a couple years back was a really good acquisition from the Lions, who was kind of a shutdown corner. And then this year, not many people are talking about it, but James Bradbury from the Giants, you get him from like a division rival. He's like a really excellent cornerback, and to have him as your number 2 guy is a really good piece to have in the defense and in the secondary.
Yeah, we used to have corners that couldn't even tackle anyone. We got I can't remember his name, but he was from the Seahawks Legion of Boom. He was like opposite of Richard Sherman, Byron Maxwell, and he was supposed to be the best corner, and then he didn't even want to touch a person. Oh, so this is our secondary has by far, I think, our strength probably. Well, that it kind of goes between our defensive line. It's kind of how our defense is set up. Like our defensive coordinator, he doesn't call blitzes often, so it's basically you have to have pressure with that front.
Yeah, you just get so much pressure out of that front four, you don't even need to call blitzes.
Mm-hmm. And that helps. And then that our secondary doesn't have to be matched up and hold their guys for 8, 7, 9 seconds or whatnot, and so.
Yeah, I think Eagles will be a tough out in the playoffs. I wanted to share my screen with you guys if I could, since I guess we can talk about who did the Bears play this week, Dave?
The Eagles.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Bears have to play the Eagles. It's in Chicago. Honestly, it's probably best case scenario. The Eagles are going to get another game where they can just iron out their kinks against a terrible Bears team, and the Bears can just go in and help make their draft pick even better. So I'm looking forward to this Sunday. Somehow it's like I think they're like it's an 8.5 point spread or something.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are going to murder the Bears. So go to the bank, look the teller in the eyes, and tell them to take out every single last cent you have in your savings account and put on the Eagles to cover the spread.
No, leverage money against your home mortgage, Dave. $350,000, whatever your house is worth, and put it all on the Eagles.
Put the house and the kids. Put the kids up on the black market for the deal. It's a win-win. You either lose the kids and you increase your net worth, or you keep the kids and make a bunch of money.
So that'll be a tough game, but it'll be exciting to see the two young quarterbacks that have the league in good hands facing off with each other. That'll be really exciting. I can't wait for that.
Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew. That's right.
Who would I rather have? Let's see, Jordan Love or Justin Fields. I'm gonna say Justin Fields.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what? News came out this week. I was reading if the Packers decide to stick with Aaron Rodgers, who they just paid a bunch of money to for a 2-year contract. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. Jordan Love is going to request a trade. So all those years of just grooming Jordan Love for nothing. We'll see what happens.
Thank you for that little tidbit. This is the playoff. This is the 538's playoff projections. It shows, for people that are just listening, shows the percentage chance of making the playoffs, winning the division, getting the first round bye. So there's many, many teams with like a 99% chance of making the playoffs. The Eagles have secured it. Bills, Chiefs, Cowboys, Bengals, Vikings, Ravens, 49ers are all, I mean, basically they would have to lose out and have a ton of wrong things happen. So those guys and gals are all in. What you don't see on here is the Green Bay Packers. You have to scroll down one more. There they are, right below the Jaguars, to make the playoffs. So hope is very much alive up here in Green Bay.
They're still sniffing around at 6%.
Oh yeah, great. On the bubble though, your Chargers, Dave. They coming up. They have Tennessee, Indianapolis, and the Rams. Not a bad schedule, I think, going forward.
3 winnable games, yeah. So hopefully they can.
Yeah.
You cannot overlook any of those teams, because that's when they'll get you. I could see them. The Titans are always a tough team to play, even though they've looked pretty abysmal the last couple of weeks. The Colts can always trip you up. So the Colts, they fought the Chiefs hard earlier this year. You never know with the Colts, but you're right. On paper, 3 teams that should be winnable games, and that would be huge for them down the stretch to win all 3.
Yeah, and there's also, you can see on here, there's a lot of teams on the bubble. I mean, the Lions, they're giving you a 20% chance. They have not a terrible schedule coming up. The Jets have not looked as good lately, and then they have the Panthers in Chicago. So that's another team that could potentially win out. And I would cheer for the Lions if they made the playoffs, because they are just the lovable losers, you know?
Yeah, I can root for the Lions for sure. So hopefully they can squeeze in there. The Seahawks have really not looked great lately. They've really disappointed me. I thought that they were going to shore up that 7th seed in the NFC, and they've seemed to be slipping away with that playoff spot. So it's up for grabs for sure between the Lions, the Giants, the Commanders. So we'll see who ends up snagging it.
Anything surprising for you on there, Will?
I mean, just how crappy the NFC South is, but it's one of those freaking teams has to get in the damn playoffs. But yeah, no, I mean nothing really surprising in that. It's always fun this time of year, just because you start seeing teams play with a little more urgency.
Mhm.
It's a little more pressure, and it always brings up more exciting games. So I always like this time of year, and I like it because the Eagles pretty much have their spot wrapped up. So less pressure on watching for me.
So are you a fan if the Eagles are, let's say they have the first round bye secured going into week 18, are you a fan of benching the starters to give them that rest, because then they'll have like 3 weeks off? Or are you a fan of keeping them in to keep that momentum going?
I'm always been a fan to keep them in and let them
Okay.
play. They don't have to play the full game, but play a half or just something. I'm not a big fan of having that first round bye and just going in with even though yes, it's an extra week of rest. If we're got a good momentum, you want to keep playing every single week to just keep it going. So that does make me a little nervous, but it'll depend on who we're playing and what the matchup is, I guess, with the first game if we get the bye.
What are your thoughts on that, Dave? On the old last week of rest if you got her all locked up?
Yeah, I agree with Will. I think what happens when your players get rest, they get rust. So you don't want to get your players rusty. You got to keep their joints oiled, get them out there, let them play. Maybe you can take them out towards the end of the game, especially if the game's out of hand, to be smart about it. But players can get hurt going to the grocery store. You can't play scared. And I think getting them out there, making sure they get their reps, figure things out, get the kinks out before the playoffs is more important than letting them rest a little bit.
Yeah, I also, one last thing on this playoff picture. I think it's very interesting to see the Panthers, they're only a game behind the Buccaneers now, and 3 weeks from now they play the Buccaneers. So that'll be like their week 17 matchup. So that NFC South, maybe at least will get a little bit exciting, for whoever can take the division. Because I think the Falcons are I guess they're 5-8 too. So I guess they're kind of in it too. It's pretty wide open down there.
News out of Atlanta. I don't know if you guys saw this, but they are benching my boy Marcus Mariota. So
Yeah, I saw that.
it's a tough day. Tough day in my world. Tough day in Eugene, Oregon. Feel bad for Marcus. He puts his heart out there every week, and they've struggled a little bit. So they are benching him, and he's actually stepped away from the team at the moment. So they don't know if he'll return. I believe they're going to put him on the IR, putting him out for the next 4 weeks. So going to be interesting to see how that whole thing unfolds in Atlanta. But
Wow. Who is it's a rookie that's taking over, is that correct?
Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati. Yes. 3rd round pick.
Okay. 3rd round pick?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, there's been a lot of rookies this year that were not taken very high and that people were not extremely excited about, but they've gotten opportunities. Kenny Pickett's the big one that comes to mind, but then they let that kid at the Titans play a little bit too, didn't they?
Malik Willis.
Yeah. But I think, is that it?
It was like a historically bad year for quarterbacks coming out of the draft.
Hey, but Brock Purdy, Big Cock Brock, is going to turn that around.
Yeah, exactly. You never know on paper things always look one way, and then once it comes
Sure.
down to it, the players usually pan out different than how you'd expect.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you guys want to get into your locks of the week?
Sure. Will, you're the guest. Go ahead and start us off.
Well, obviously I agree with David. The easy one is to pick the Eagles. But I'm not gonna do that.
He's not going to. Wow.
I pick them every week. It's no surprise they're a lock every single week. When I was looking at it, I did this like right before I got on and all that.
Thanks for being a bigger person, Will. I just want to start by saying that.
Yeah, that shows true courage.
Yeah,
Head.
I do my best. I'm actually gonna go with my hatred and use this to fuel this lock. But I am not buying in to the Cowboys, and I think Jacksonville is getting ready to make a push, and I think Jacksonville will. They're 4.5 point underdogs at home, and they're my lock of the week.
I like
And I
that.
think they win. I don't think they just cover. I think they win.
And you
They win outright.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yes. Dougie Peterson, he's gonna get things cooking, and he loves to beat up on the Cowboys.
So it all ties back to your Eagles fandom, anyways.
It does. That's how everything comes full circle there.
It does, boy. Oh God.
My lock of the week, I'm going to go just in case you steal mine, John. I doubt you will have this because it's kind of bold, but I'm going to go Carolina Panthers -2.5 at home against the Steelers. I think the Steelers are hot garbage. I love Mike Tomlin as a coach, but their roster's not very good this year. They've been banged up with injuries. Najee's kind of banged up. The quarterback situation is in disarray. You're probably going to have Mitch Trubisky start, maybe even Mason Rudolph, which will be even worse. So I'm going to go Carolina, who's been hot and looking good. Sam Darnold looks like USC Sam Darnold all over again, pre-mono Sam Darnold. So I'm going Carolina to cover 3 points at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Like it. I'm going to go. If you're listening to this in the years 2022 and the Packers are favored, take the other team. I'm going to take the Rams +7.5 at Lambeau in the snow. I do not see the Packers winning this game by more than a touchdown. Outcome in the universe and the multiverse, however many possibilities are out there, I don't see it happening. They're coming off a bye. They've looked lazy and slow all year. I think they're going to look slower. And I think Baker's trying to pad the old resume forever he wants to move on to next year. So tickets are cheap as hell, though, which is nice if you're going to be in Green Bay. I think they're like $50, which is cheap for a Lambeau game. Normally they're not that cheap.
And if you looked at that schedule last year, a year ago from today, those tickets would be going for probably $350.
Definitely. They were early in the season. Yeah, they were before it turned out that the Rams sucked as well. They were like 250 to 280. They were, and it's a primetime game, so.
Yeah, you saw money bags, and your eyes were just seeing money bags, and then it slowly decimated away as the Packers choked their season away slowly.
Yeah, but I'm still going, so we're looking forward to it. We'll have a couple $10 beers and smoke down some chicken strips for $12 and just have the time of our lives in the cold. So yeah, it'll be a good time. Who do you guys have as your big ballers of the week?
Mr. Will Cleveland, we'll start out with you again.
So my big baller is gonna be your Chargers, Josh Palmer. I think he's primed to have a big breakout week again. He's had a few games where he's kind of gone off. I think a few weeks ago he had 20 some fantasy points or whatnot. I think he's primed for another one against the Titans this week.
That's interesting because I have him on one of my fantasy teams, and I've been getting nervous now that they have Keenan Allen back and Mike Williams. Does that concern you at all, or you think he's gonna break through because those guys will get more attention as they come back?
I think they're gonna get a lot more of the attention, and I don't think his targets are gonna diminish that much. I think Herbert will probably still look for him, especially with those other guys getting a little more focus. So,
all right, I hope you're right. My big baller of the week, I'm going to go with your boy Devontae Smith. They're going against the Chicago Bears. I still have a lot of faith in my boy Jalen Johnson, who's our number one corner in Chicago. So I think he's going to do a decent job on A.J. Brown. So I think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for Devontae Smith. The Bears secondary is pretty bad beyond Jalen Johnson. So I'm thinking that he's going to have a lot of openings and get a lot of targets this week.
Who was yours? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Devontae Smith on the Eagles.
Oh, I like that. Very good. Very good. I just had to look up. I think it's going to be a shootout in the Meadowlands. It's Detroit and the Jets. And I think that Garrett Wilson is going to explode. I wish I had him on my team. He's a rookie and he's looked great. And I think this is going to be a big game for him against an atrocious Lions defense. And potentially they'll be down, so they'll have to be playing from behind and throwing the ball a lot.
I also have Garrett Wilson, so I'm hoping the curse of the Amateur Hour podcast does not leak into my fantasy rosters.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to change it? I have
no. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I believe in Garrett Wilson too, but it is supposed to be like 25 and kind of flurries / sleeting. So,
hey, it doesn't matter. His stars shine so bright, David. It doesn't matter what the weather looks like or what the wind is.
Kind of like Rudolph's nose on Christmas Eve.
Exactly right. You're exactly right. So big game for Garrett Wilson. Keep your eyes peeled.
Excellent.
All right, gentlemen, what do you think? Good, quick and dirty. To the point.
Dirty.
Not a lot of beating around the bush tonight.
No, not a lot of beating around the bush. Will Philadelphia, thanks for coming on. Coming off his third victory of the season. Guys just absolutely torching through the league. So very top-heavy pick'em league this year, I would say. Really good players towards the top with Will Philadelphia. Jenna, Harvey. You got Bo Bingham. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yep, and that's it.
Bo's killing it, and the rest of the people just are middle tier or bottom tier shitters.
We're just
including me. I'm officially 500 on the year, just like my gambling. I'm 104 and 104. So we'll see if I can turn it around with a couple weeks left to go. Good luck to you, John, as well. We'll see all the listeners and viewers on the episode next week, I hope. But thanks for listening to this one with a very special Will Philadelphia as a guest.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.